OGs are back, and we're talking NASCAR. NASCAR, we haven't been on in another week or two. We back again talking NASCAR. OGs are back. And Deacon, BJ, Biggie. Hey, BJ, welcome coming on, man. Thank you. You've been texting us. Thank you for coming on this week, too. But we're
BJ
talking,
is our official statistician.
yeah, official status. We're talking about the 45 car. We got off of Bubba. Bubba's gone. Bubba wrecked. And now
Those
you the 45 car. Did you see the 45 car make that move the last race, Deacon? Did you see the 45 car make
well, you
that?
mean 2 races ago or the last race?
Well,
2 races ago he won.
yeah, 2 races ago he won. What was last week's race?
Last week was Darlington. Yeah.
That's the last, well, put this. That's the last one I seen was the 45 car.
Oh yeah.
I was too busy watching the draft this week, last weekend.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. So 2 weeks ago,
Talladega.
the 23X got his final. That's not his first win. That's not their first win, is it? Because Bubba won in that 23 car, didn't he?
Yeah, that was their first. That was not. Yeah, that was not. That wasn't their first win at Talladega. That's right. Bubba got the win back in the fall of 2021. That was Tyler's first win at Talladega, and 2311 second overall.
Okay, second overall. Yeah, because they were mighty happy, man. I was happy to see him get on through there because that last wreck on that final lap, he could have got taken off. He could have got taken out, man, but he made it through and he went ahead and got the win. It's always good to see the team win, even though Bubba kind of fell to the wayside in that little accident the last 2 weeks. That's why I titled this episode here from Lucky Charms. What is it? Lucky Charms to I don't even know our name. Lucky Charms to Snake Bit. Because 2 weeks before that, he was catching all the wrecks right at the right time. Ended up in top 10. Now he just can't avoid a wreck. The last 2 races, man, he just been wrecking out. So he got 2 didn't finish. And he's back down to number 15. So, all's not lost, but you can't keep piling up failures to finish the race. That's the worst. He was lucky he got a stage point, though. That's 1 point. We'll take whatever we can get. But that 1 point probably will be the difference at the end of the season because he never can get in on wins. He always gets in on points. But all good. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, the 23X won with Tyler Reddick. That was a good little opportunity to, promote the team. We didn't come on last week because, we had a lot of the football stuff to do. But this week, we was planning on coming on and having a good little talk here about Mr. Bubba. But once again, he wrecked out. Not his fault. Got tapped in the back. He said next week in Kansas, he hope we can just avoid the squirrels. So I guess he's talking about the little people that keep hitting him and knocking him out of races. But it's Rick had a good finish too, didn't he? Finish like in top 5.
I believe he finished round 10th or 12th.
10th or 12th.
Yeah, well, I got to check the squad. Finished just outside the top 10, like around 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere around there.
Let me see.
At Dover.
Yeah, Dover.
Truex. Reddick 14. That can't be right.
Who are you looking for?
I was trying to look for the race last week, the results for the race last week. But
you talking about the Dover?
Oh no, shit! That's February 4th. That's the old race. All I saw was Denny Hamlin winning. Tyler Reddick. See, last week. See, they got Tyler Reddick. See, they not what it is. It's not updated. That's what's going on. They haven't updated the race.
Hamlin just won Dover.
Yeah, I know, but they still got the Geico 500 2 weeks ago, April 21st up here. They don't have the Dover race in there, so they still selling tickets for the Dover race online.
Yeah,
but hey, listen, huh?
They selling tickets for it.
Yeah, I know. They behind 1 week. They must have been watching the draft.
Watching the draft too, huh?
Hey BJ, let me ask you, man, how'd you get into racing? Because you seem to know a lot. You sound like a from birth to now kind of guy.
Well, I got introduced to it first around when I was like a kid growing up. Where I grew up was I'm gonna say it was like crazy popular, but there was a time period where it was kind of up there. It was like it was one of the things. It was one of those things where you probably heard of it while not even trying to hear of it. Just because the area I kind of grew up in around it down Alabama. I grew up 2 hours west of Talladega. Wait, 2 hours west of Talladega, 2 hours east of Atlanta Motor Speedway. And I had like a dirt track near where I grew up from, and like 10 miles down the highway. And I like the drag strip down thing. So racing was one of those things that you kind of just heard of without trying to hear about. And I can remember there was like a little NASCAR memorabilia shop, like not too far from where I grew up at. And there was there were kids at school who were like, you don't see this today, I don't think, really in school, but every once in a while you see a kid rocking like a Dale Earnhardt backpack or a Dale Earnhardt cap.
Right.
It just was like, it was one of those things that you kind of heard of without even trying to hear of it. So I got my indoctrination. I had a schoolmate, I believe his name was Aaron. He actually, I think, just recently passed away, man. But he was the first kid that kind of nudged me into it a little bit. And I remember one day coming to school, he was like, "Hey man, you watched the race this weekend? Was you into the race?" I'm like, "Man, no, I ain't really see it." So that was by the start of the school year. So by the end of that school year, I was like going up to him, "Hey man, did you see the so and so 500 this weekend?" So it was kind of one of those things that I kind of got into that way. And my brother started like collecting like little die-cast cars initially. Like what you get out the cereal box. I think the first one I had was like the 43 Cheerios card because of, it was in a box of Cheerios. They used to give you little die-cast cars. Just got sparked there on. I just kind of, started learning and picking up, little things like that. But it was kind of this area where I lived down south. It was really hard to just avoid it at one point in time. It's not popular anymore. But it was those things where you couldn't go into a store with a cardboard out of doggone Dale Earnhardt or Jeff Gordon at one point in time. But it ain't that popular no more. But that's how I kind of got my feet wet with it.
Yeah, so it's more you and your friends as opposed to your family members.
Yeah, I can't really say, man. A lot of my family members have been like my brother. He collected die-cast cars and stuff like that, little 164s, but he never really was into it. Like sitting down and watching it and learning it. One day I was like, shoot, let me, since we collecting these cars, whatever, let me actually sit down and turn them.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are into the fast cars and just like the cars themselves, not necessarily the technical parts of the race. So as people tune in just to see the crashes as well. So
Right.
yeah.
Did we lose BJ?
Did we?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. His joint was going in and out.
Yeah.
So let him pop on, get stable. There you go. Yeah, no, I was saying while he was gone, I said a lot of people, collect the cars. They like the look of the cars and the idea of them going fast, but never really got into the technical part of the races and the teams and the crews and all that stuff. So, it makes sense that everybody is not going to dive that deep into it. But I would say that what you say? You're in Atlanta, then, right?
My bad, y'all lost for a minute. Y'all got me back now.
Yeah, you good. You in Atlanta?
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up, man. I grew up right. I grew up in Atlanta. I've lived in Atlanta for a minute. Well, not a minute, but I don't know what you call it, but I have lived, got family up in Atlanta. Right now, I grew in and I reside across the river in what's called, what's this county called? East Alabama. Like around like the Auburn way, up near that way. That's why I got my upbringing in, what you come from, got family there. And I still, come to that way and go to that way from time to time. I got some family and some home there. And where at one point in time during about the 90s, again, it's not it was mega hugely popular than say college football or nothing like that, but it was a period of time where You walking into a store and you gonna see a NASCAR car all cut out, or you gonna see little, die-cast cars. And I guess it's just the marketing aspect of it changed throughout the time, and that's how I got my, just feet wet and indoctrination. My family, a lot of them weren't really that into it like that for real. A lot of it comes.
Like we lost him again.
His internet isn't stable. You can tell I was roboting in and out. But I understand what he's saying. He got into it mostly because he just decided to get in a little deeper to what he was watching.
Yeah. Down south, I've learned that a lot of people down south, they love their NASCAR though.
Mm-hmm.
In places like Alabama, Jacksonville, nothing but NASCAR and college football. I mean, so those are things that them people that's how people did when they were growing up. And for me, I'm kind of like where you were saying, I don't know the real aspects of NASCAR, but I do like the cars, the way they go fast, and stuff like that. But I was always intrigued by the way how races, the format was laid out and stuff like that. Still learning, but I mean, hey, it's a good sport.
Right, it's interesting. Listen, you don't have to sit around and watch the whole race. You don't have to keep your eyes on the TV the whole time, and keep watching and watching. Most of the time I fall asleep halfway through the race and wake up before it's over with. And sometimes I cook and I come back and I cook, I go in the kitchen, come back, go in the kitchen, come back. If you watch NASCAR enough, you are one of those people who know how to listen to the race and know when something about to pop off. You know when the stage is almost over. You know when it's time to pit. You know when somebody is crowding somebody and something about to happen. Especially if you crowding Kyle Busch or somebody like that.
I can see when the fans be bringing out their lawn chairs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean,
listen, you pay tickets to be over there too. You bring your own chair. Listen, it's a lot more. Let me tell you, it's a lot more comfortable than sitting in them bleachers.
Back of the mat.
They got no back in them, man.
Because I mean, how long are them races? Were like 3 hours?
Yeah, it's usually about at least 3 hours.
3 hours.
Some 4 hours, depending on if you got like a 600 or a 500-mile race or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So BJ, did you ever drive at all, man? Do you drive?
No, see, I grew up, man. When I even entertained that's the one thing I think when I see guys like Rajah Caruth and some of the young cats finally starting to come up, I'm glad because it's one of those things that as black people we got to let our kids, if we want to ever get them involved, we got to let them be willing to take that risk. When I entertained a racing career, it was like, nah, boy, shut up, don't you? That's too dangerous. Sit your butt down. Don't ever, what you call that. So I just said, you know what, forget it. I'll stand off in the shadows and be a fan. I did think about it at one time when I was real small. We had a go kart, and I took steps to that. But it was one of those things where I guess my parents, being black and no one had ever been out there and done that, they were scared to really let me or anybody really just willing to take that risk and take that chance. And as I got older, I said, well, I'll get my feel of this playing, video games. But I never really drove, and because of that, I'm happy to see when we finally get some young black youth getting involved in the sport to be able that their parents and their families are willing to support them taking that risk. Because I know getting into really all sports is dangerous, but getting into racing, it's a lot of guys, it's a lot of gals, and even some girls, unfortunately, that went down into a turn one time at 100 or some miles per hour, smacked the wall, and they never would have same again. And if that happens to them, if something serious happens to them, that's their family that's got to live with that, if something serious happened to them. So I understand that, but I never drove just because I had, family that they were trying to protect me and be supportive of. But every time I even entertain a racing career, boy, heck no, shut your mouth and go sit down. Don't even think about it. And again, it's one of those things that I understand, but at the same time, I'm glad to see some parents and families are finally starting to see, hey, if we don't let your kids touch that or try that, we won't ever have any advancement and going to the next level.
Yeah. And I was just looking at Rajah's record here, and he's in 7th place right now. 54 points back. But I'm looking at the stage wins. It says 0 stage wins, but he's won a race. Is that not a stage win? They don't count winning the race as a stage win.
No, they count. They only stage wins only counted in the first 2 stages. So, I mean, yeah, kind of. You could say he won what is quote the 3rd stage, but they don't count that as a stage win. To win a stage, you got to win one of the first 2. Like if it's a 100-lap race, stage 1, 25, stage 2, 25. The last one, 50 laps.
Mm-hmm.
You got to win one of the first 2, 25, one of the first 25, and that counts as a stage win. Although I think it should count as a stage win because technically it is a stage, but they don't count it that way.
Right. Yeah. That's well, they call it stage 1, stage 2, and then the final. So I guess it's not really a stage. It's just the end of the race. But he's doing good this year, though. He's real stable in that truck, man. I think they're gonna move him up into cars pretty soon because he has driven the Xfinity cars before, and he hasn't done bad. So it's just a matter of giving him the opportunity and giving him a good race car. You know, it's a lot of learning that has to go on when you come to these races, man. But hopefully next week, Kansas is a good race for Bubba. He usually has a good record at Kansas. Let's put it that way. I'm not sure if he's going to be threatening to win, but it seems like his best races are when he qualifies well. He can't start in the back no way. He can't start 15th or something like that because that's usually where he ends up. No matter whether he goes up or down, he still ends up around half the race cars. So if we can get him to get a good qualifying start, somewhere in top 5, top 10, then I think he'll be all right. I mean, there's still a long way to go. Listen, NASCAR season is a long season. It's a lot of races involved in that season. They'll still be racing when football start up. So it won't even be the playoffs yet, I don't think. But
is it a short track on Deacon?
Kansas is I think it's a 1.5 miles, ain't it?
It's a super speedway?
No, it's not a super
speedway. It is. It's a 1.5 mile and a half.
Okay, yeah, that's not a super speedway though. Yeah, 1.5
It's what they call one of them intermediate tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's nice though. It's nice. You can. I mean, unlike last week, you can actually get your speed up and put a little pedal to the metal.
Is it oval or what?
I'll find out for you. Go ahead, BJ.
It's an oval. It's a tri-oval, traditional 1.5 oval. Think kind of like how Texas is, whereas Texas is more squared off on the front straightaway. Kansas is more rounded off on the front straightaway.
Okay.
Texas and Atlanta, Charlotte, they got that square kind of dog leg shape on the front straightaway. Kansas is more rounded. Kansas is more similar shape to how Las Vegas is. It's kind of a more rounded front straightaway, but they both the 1.5 mile.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good size. Try to pull up an image for you here. Yeah, it's a good size race. You can get your speed, like I said. You can put more power to the metal, power to the car. Get some running speed before you get into the curves and all that stuff.
I never knew the car had so many races. And it ran all the way up until November. Jeez.
Yeah, it's a lot of races, homie. Yeah. Yeah, that's why you never that's kind of not really, but that's part of the reason why I like NASCAR because it's that in between sport. I'm not a big baseball fan.
Right. That's a nice track.
Yeah. Is it a night race, BJ?
No, not this go around to my knowledge. The next night race I think doesn't come around until technically the Coke 600. Well, it kind of is a night race, but it kind of isn't. It starts in day and it ends at night. But the next actual night race I want to say isn't until, gosh, maybe Nashville. I got to see what time Nashville starts in June. It's either gonna be Nashville or it'll be the Daytona night race. I know that next night race isn't for a good minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, give you a heads up. We were talking baseball for a second. Our Nationals, this is a DMV Sports Channel 2. We talk about Washington sports. Our Nationals are 14-14 and going into the 5th inning here and 1 up. So they're competing this year. There's actual competition, 500 competition in the Nationals Park here in DC, which is good to see because we were tanking for the last 2 years.
How about to say we're not tanking this year?
Not this year.
Oh, Deacon, you said
Yeah.
you want to know the next night races at NASCAR All Star Open, 8 p.m.
That's not open. That's not a points race though.
Oh, that's an oh, okay. Oh, 100 laps. Okay, yeah. Sunday may not. Gotcha.
Now, Deacon and BJ, do most NASCAR drivers drive every race, or have they pick and choose what races they drive?
You drive every race unless you hurt.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
every week
you
you somewhere.
if you full time, you're gonna compete every week, unless you got said the guy who got injured last week, Talladega, Eric Jones, you're gonna get injured. Or if you're in one of those teams, if you're in one of those kind of back marker teams that share drivers, like I know it's a couple cars out there that they rotate drivers out and they don't really the same drivers that may not compete in all 36 races. Like I believe it's the 15 car to 16 car, they don't compete. That car swaps out drivers, so it'll be this driver this week, that driver next week, and then the next driver he may carry for the next two races, and then another driver will come and do the next three or four races. But the majority of the drivers, will be full time, go from the first race to the last one.
Yeah, if you're not in the seat, then you don't get the points.
Okay.
So that'll knock you out of the playoffs as well.
Right.
The
Gotcha.
only benefit for somebody driving your car if you're injured is you get the manufacturer points and the owner points. So there's certain their owner championships, their um, manufacturer championships, and then their series championships, cup championships. So
Now, Deacon, have they
couple of
announced when Honda is coming on board?
nah, that's still talk.
Still talk.
Yeah, it's still talk. But I think they said in the next couple of years though. So what happens is even when Toyota got into it, it took them a couple of years to get their R&D up to snuff. You can't
Mhm.
just take a car and put it in there and then expect to compete. There's a lot of R&D that goes into making
Right.
sure that your particular model car um, fits the specs. You have to make sure that everything is the same as everybody else's car, and they put that laser on your car, and you got something out of whack. Then you're wasting your whole year, man. So
Right.
yeah, they probably still trying to get up to snuff as far as the rules and regulations of what the NASCAR requires for you to get into the system. Now, I would have no doubt that they can build an engine and you know make it compete as far as speed is concerned. But even the cars now, um, some of the manufacturers like Ford, the whole reason that Ford was trying to win so much 2 weeks ago was that they haven't had enough speed in these races. They haven't had good showings. So even though you can build an engine, build a fast engine, that doesn't mean that you're going to stay up with everybody else. So,
Yes.
and the last thing you want to do is get into a sport and then embarrass yourself. That ain't selling no car.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's about drafting. It's about weight. It's about skill of drivers. A whole lot that goes
Yeah, but
involved.
even when you got all that down, sometimes the car just don't go fast.
Right.
I don't know what it is. BJ, you know why that is? Because most of them pretty much got used the same R&D as far as testing and all that stuff. The tires are the same, the engine parts are the same. Everything is to a spec now. So when a car is not going fast, I really don't know what the problem is. That's why I look at Bubba's car sometimes. I'm like, man, he got no speed today. But then his Reddick has speed. So I don't know. It's the same engine, same car, basically. It's just the way they tune it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all of that. Plus, I think it's a combination of all of that. Plus, sometimes it might. I've heard of back in the day they used to say what track was a driver's track or whatever. I think it's a certain way those guys know how to. The more I ain't gonna say this to put any driver up, put any driver down, but I think it's a certain way certain drivers know how to negotiate around certain tracks, and that gives them sometimes I don't want to say the speed advantage, but it gives them at like a competitive advantage in the long run. Like a lot of times I pay attention on the broadcast when they talk about when guys are like diamond in the corner or certain,
Yeah,
techniques or whatever the drivers use that helps try to give them, a little bit of a competitive advantage like that.
yeah, I've seen that too. Where you get if you're like diamond the corner, you get more speed coming off the corner because you get in easier and you come out, at a better angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more the driving stuff. But like you go to Poconos, this straight speed, man. Poconos is
Right.
so
Right.
huge that if
Right.
you don't have that speed in the car, it's going to show up. And that's what I'm talking about. If you don't have speed in your car, is it the crew chief tuning it incorrectly? Is it just you got a bad part or something like that? There's probably no real rating. There's probably no real way to describe or tell what the issue is because if we knew, they knew. You know what I mean? And they'd fix it.
True.
So it's
True.
like it's just interesting, and just going back to the Hondas, man. They have to figure that out before they hit the track, man. You can't get on the track and then not be able to make speed. Then you can't race.
So yeah, retracting what I said, the Coca-Cola is correct. That starts at 6 p.m. on Sunday, May 26th.
Okay, and that's what now? That night race?
The Coca-Cola, 600. That's Sunday, May 26th at 6 p.m. And then after that, you have the Iowa Corn 350, which is at 7 p.m. Sunday, June 16th.
Okay, I didn't know that was gonna be a night race, the Iowa race. Okay.
Yeah, Iowa Corn 350, powered by ethanol. Yeah, Sunday, June 16th, 7 p.m.
Now, BJ, does the lights and the being in the dark, does that make a big difference for the drivers, or is just another setting for entertainment purposes?
I wanted the same thing too.
Yeah, well, a lot of those guys will wear some type of. I remember this explained. A lot of those guys will wear some type of uh like visor or something for visibility. At some point, they'll wear. I don't know how it is, quite today in 2024, but I've seen a lot of those guys back in the last several years. Like if the sun, one thing they talk about those twilight transitioning from evening to night races, the sun being in your eyes. A lot of guys will wear what they used to call a tear off on the helmet, meaning it's designed for it to, sun to kind of be like sunglasses when you're not wearing sunglasses that you can put on, and when the sun is on, and you can, get to a pit
Yeah,
stop at a certain point when it's about dark, you can tear it off, and you could like have your clear visor again for visibility. Now, as far as setup though, usually when the night gets darker, the track temperature drops mean, it'll probably get cooler and get slicker around a lot of the track. So that'll probably mean to guys, be sliding around and getting more higher speeds. But those are two things I think about when you mentioned, that transition from day to night. Just for one, the drivers have to deal with visibility changing like that, and two, the track cooling off, and it's not as the track temperature not as going to be as hot as it was on the track as it would be when the race had started.
yeah.
So as a driver, do you think would you prefer day or night?
Day
If
track.
if I were if I were driving, see, I would prefer. It depends on, I guess, where the race was being held at. Most of the time, I would probably say, me personally, I would say a day race just because there are more of them, and I think our mind is accustomed to it. But if I was a driver that grew up coming into the sport that ran a lot of night races at my local dirt track, because I know the dirt track I grew up around, they raced a lot of their stuff at night, so I'm probably used to and accustomed at night races. And I'm sure those guys that ran a lot at night more often probably would be more comfortable and would respect running at night as opposed to running during the day, because it's something that they done been trained and gotten used to, and the aspects of, hey, the track is changing because it's getting
Yeah,
cooler.
yeah,
The moonlight is out. We got the track lights up. I'm having to deal with visibility like that. So I think it just depends on how you were grounded and worked into. And if I were a driver, if I were grounded in training to night racing and running a whole bunch at night, it probably would be something I would prefer. But me personally, now I think I would rather just go by daylight. Me personally.
yeah.
Now, let
I
me
think. Let me just add to that because I think where you grew up, BJ, when you had a dirt track close to your home, if you had trained on that dirt track, you would probably prefer the night races only because the later it gets, the slicker the road gets, slicker the track gets.
Right, right,
And
right,
guys
exactly.
who have a background in dirt, can handle that rear end slipping out a little more easier. Like if you just a basic asphalt racer or concrete racer, then you're not really used to your rear end sliding out. You get used to it because that's just life in NASCAR. But these guys come up with it with throwing their rear end around a curve, just to stay on the track. So I mean, personally, like if you're racing in the daytime, you get more grip on the track. The sun is beating down, so it's more rubber on the track, and the later it get, that rubber doesn't stay on the track; it just marbles up and slides off the track or slides up to the top, and then that creates havoc too. But personally, I mean, I like the night races. I like the way it looks. I mean, they light the track up nicely, and they can see well. It's only those tracks that are meant to race in the day and they don't have no lights on the track. That when it gets kind of dark, that's when it gets crazy. Because even though you can see it pretty good on the TV, that's just because of the filters on the cameras. Sometimes it gets dark at them tracks if you're not looking through a lens. So I guess you can put on them blue blockers. You can see in the daytime and the night. You ever seen them commercial? That commercial? Remember that commercial on the beach? The blue blockers.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they use on their visors. There's a blue block on the visor. You see it day and night, baby. Doesn't even matter. So, Biggie, what was you saying?
I was saying, I wonder if who owns the most nighttime wins so far.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying, within the 2023 2024 freeway right now, as I'm seeing, if I'm correct, I want to say that is held by, I don't know where Tyler Reddick.
that's Bubba's racing partner, and he was a dirt track racer. Also, dirt track racers are better at road courses too. I think seems that way anyway.
Yeah. So I was trying to find out who has the most nighttime wins within the 2024 and 2023
I don't
220.
know. It hasn't been that many races in this year. As far as I don't think we had any night races this year, have we, BJ?
Not to my not well, aside from the Clash, if you want to count the
Oh,
Clash, that was won by Hamlin. But other
was
than that, there has been none. But if you want a general idea of who has probably, I'd say a fair guess would be night races since the decade began, the 2020s. I want to say it feels like Denny Hamlin, but I don't count me on that because I know Hamlin
Okay.
won. He won a Bristol night race last year, and he won the Richmond race a few weeks back, which was a night race. And I know he won. What else did he win? Uh, I feel like he's got a couple more at night wins. Hamlin does. I know he won one race at Darlington that was at night back in 21 or 22. So if I had to give a call to anybody who has the most night wins in this decade, 2020, I'd probably throw Denny Hamlin up there. I can't call that exact number, but it feels like he has
Right now,
about as many as anybody.
he just won the last one actually, the Toyota. That was a Sunday, March 31st, 7 p.m. race, and yeah,
At Richmond, yep.
Yep, won that one, and again, he won the Food City 500 Sunday,
Yeah.
March 17 at 7 p.m.
Yeah. Well, Denny got three wins already this year.
Yeah, so it looked like Danny Hamlin is pretty. You know what I'm saying? Right now, so far, it looks to me be the one in night races as far as 2024 and 25.
Right. Well, I
24.
I kind of root for Denny, not only because team owner and part of Joe Gibbs' team, but he hasn't won a championship yet, and he's won a lot of races. And you know, anybody you get out the car and the fans start booing you, man. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. So I'm kind of rooting for him to win this year. And
I was
he,
about
and
to
he
say, yeah, got to win the big one now. One, you know, what I'm saying now and then. Got to root
yeah,
for that. Oh,
yeah. I mean, yeah. Come on now. Denny's a good racer. He's
like the
aggressive.
Buffalo Bills, man. Can't always see them.
Hey, BJ, you got a football team?
Yeah, well, I done bounced my allegiance around. I gotta say, the truth be told, I'm a fair weather fan. I can't even lie, man. I initially had my allegiance just I had family there with the Falcons, but the Falcons have let me down so many times. I won't even wear my Atlanta Falcons gear out in public sometimes just because I don't want to be laughed at sometimes. I seriously don't. I don't want the smoke and the heat with it, so I'll shoot. Let me. I got my Falcon shirt is clean. You know what? No, you know what? I ain't even finna wear this Falcon shirt around. Well, let me get this little T-strap T-shirt or whatever, man. But I pulled for the Falcons at one point in time. I've also been a doggone what's the team? I used to like them back in the day 'cause they like the one quarterback they had. Gosh, the doggone they used to be the Chargers. The Chargers back in the day. I pulled for the Chargers back in the day. Back in the day.
Yeah.
And back when they had what was the man named Philip Rivers? Something about him I
Yeah.
used to like, but I kind of fell off of them. So right now,
I mean, he's a
I've
Southern
really,
boy. He's a Southern boy.
I've, I've
Everybody loves a Southern boy.
I've really never, just pledged my full allegiance right there, not in football. Same way with hoop, same way with hoop. I gravitated towards the Atlanta teams because I got family there, so I used to pull up for them Hawks. But at a certain point in time, they let you down so much. It's just like, man, I'm a fair weather fan. My allegiance and anything outside of NASCAR is up for grabs.
Yeah, you get
Okay,
tired
so
of it, huh?
you're
So
not in
BJ,
college.
are you Auburn or Alabama?
I was about to say college.
Yeah,
Ooh, ooh. See,
that's tough.
I can't even.
That's tough in
I
your
can't even declare
hometown.
that. No, no. See, I can't even declare that because I got one. I can't say she is now, but at one point in time, I had one parent that was Auburn, one parent that was Alabama, and I was kind
Wow.
of I don't know who declared the lead, but I pulled for both. Again, I tell you, I'm a fair weather fan. I
I
pulled
was
for
about to
both
say
in those
roll
situations.
tide.
When they play each other, most of the time I'm roll tide, but I have donned the War Eagle once a time too. So
When Bo
I'm
Jackson
a
was there, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that makes sense because what did we say quarterback was for San Francisco?
Who, San Francisco?
No, the Chargers. He just mentioned who's the
Philip
Oh,
Philip
quarterback?
Rivers back in the
Yeah,
day. Yeah,
Philip
Philip
Rivers.
Rivers. That's
yeah,
he's the Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin's the Philip Rivers of NASCAR.
Yeah.
yeah,
Whole
Yeah,
bunch of wins
yeah,
and no championship.
yeah,
And he's aggressive
yeah,
and angry. He comes out, he'll talk you to death. He'll talk
yeah.
trash on Twitter. That's kind of like Danny, man. He be spitting back at people. It makes me laugh. Makes me laugh. But listen, man. Next week we're going to Kansas. Let's see what time that race is. That is a 4 o'clock. No, 4 o'clock race. 3 o'clock race. 3 o'clock race. So it'll probably start at 4 o'clock. May 5th. New month. Hey man, everybody have a safe, happy month, man. We're going to May. I said May showers. I was supposed to cut the grass today. It just stormed today, so I couldn't even take care of my grass. So got to put up with the rain this month. But that just bringing back new life, man. We're gonna get this race on Sunday. We're gonna get Bubba in a better position. You are a Bubba fan, right?
Oh, for sure.
That's a stupid question. That's a stupid
For
question.
sure, I for sure, when I again, like I said, when I saw that there were brothers coming on driving, I said yes. It felt like it validated my fanhood for being the time because there was a period in time. Again, I'm gonna go through some history. There's a period of time when it was still, none but the white guys out there. I'm thinking, I was
Mhm.
told by certain family members, hey, you don't need that's good for you to watch. There ain't no brothers out there running for that. And I'm like, well, I kind of like this, I was remember thinking, hey, when brothers finally come out there, I'm gonna be rooting and pulling for them. And so
Yeah,
now that time I came, I'm like, yeah, I'm down for certain. I
right.
can't say that every once in a while I won't want to see if it's another guy I like out there that hey, yeah, I want to see him do good too because he always been down. But yeah, if I see 23 storming taking to the lead, no doubt I'm gonna be cheering and hooping and hollering too. So
There you go.
it's a validation of him seeing him Raja, and what's the guy in Arca now? LeVar Scott, the guys coming up. I feel like, yeah, my fanhood that I had for years is validated. I don't feel like I got to explain stuff to certain members of my family or certain people that I knew. Hey, what what ain't no black folks. This ain't no black folks to be liking this or watching this. I'm like, well, hey, I found it interesting and neat. I ain't and they ain't never said no rule that said, hey, you ain't never seen them flash up that said, hey, no blacks allowed to be interested in this or follow this or whatever. So I liked it and I followed it and I became a fan, and now that I see guys out there running for sure, like now I'm really, down for it now,
Yeah, you hit the ground running. You was already on there.
Yeah.
What'd you say the boy was in Arca?
LeVar Scott, I forget his number right now. I think he's running for Red Race, but his name is LeVar Scott.
All right, I had to look out for him. I never heard of him before. Lamar Scott. There you go, right? The LeVar Scott. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep up with him because, we always want to see these guys progress to the next level.
For
And,
sure, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
LeVar Scott. The other cat, Raja's from DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude is from New Jersey. So, I'm always interested in how did they get into racing? How they get to practice? You know what I mean? That's the one thing. You can always have that want to, and man, I really like to do that. But then, your parents had to drive you 3 hours to a track or something like that. It's like, you really don't have a chance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just
It's one of those things, you just gotta, if like I said earlier, you got to have people in your life that are willing to walk you through that process and willing to go with you with that journey and take that risk with you. And you really don't have a chance. Not just racing, but that's a lot of stuff in life. You got to have, in order to have a chance to, be successful, you got to have that one person or that one group of people that A, want to see you succeed, and B, as willing to walk that journey with you and,
Yeah.
drive them long road trips to you and see you crying sometime when you get disappointed and, celebrate with you when you have them happy moments.
Right.
Yep. Hey, LeVar Scott right now, Arca is in 6th place. So
Okay.
that's excellent. Excellent. It's always a special pride when they out there, not just when they out there, when they're out there doing it. You know what I mean? Making it happen. So, all right, fellas. Hey, listen, we're gonna get out of here. Let's try to make it a nice weekend. Get a good race going on here this week.
Yes, sir.
And,
Yes, sir.
come back next week with a more happiness and a better report from my man Bubba.
Let's go, Bubba.
And the 23X racing team.
Yes, sir.
Win,
Yes,
Bubba.
sir.